Hey everybody, I'm here. I'm going to be chatting about rental rights today. So today I'm going to go over all your rights as a renter, at least the main ones. There are probably a bunch more. So definitely do some research, check out Tenants Victoria, Consumer Affairs, even VCAT has it's a little bit more jargon heavy, but they've got some nice guides and things like that on their website. So yeah, I'm going to kick it off. If you haven't seen the other videos which cover things like going through the preparation for renting a property all the way through to doing your application and preparing for the move, go and watch those. They're on our Lifeskills playlist on our YouTube channel, or you can check them out on our Facebook page under videos as well. So yeah, let's get into it. Alrighty, firstly, you have the right to move into a clean property. So if you get there on moving day and things are gross, weird smells, dust, dirt, a substantial amount. I'm not talking just like a covering of dust that would have probably maybe happened in the last few weeks. I'm talking like it's filthy. Then make sure that you take photos, and you can then chat to your real estate, send them through the photos, or get them even to come out and have a look at the property if suitable. And hopefully, if that is the case and the place is quite dirty, they may be able to potentially get like some professional cleaners in, or to get that sorted out for you. Obviously, it'll come out of the previous tenant's bond if it was something that they left. Otherwise, yeah, so definitely important taking those photos and making sure that you have that evidence there. If it's a smell, it's a little bit harder. Like when I moved into this place, it had like a weird smell in the walls, so I can't really take a photo of a smell. So yeah, so that's when you might need to be getting them to come in and actually be there and witness that smell. Alrighty, so second right, very important one, a safe and healthy environment. So if there are any hazards or risks in the property, particularly major ones, the real estate needs to resolve them within 24 to 48 hours. And this goes for while you're renting as well as like when you're moving in. This includes hot water being broken, the toilet not working, or if it's clogged up, if the shower's not working. If you're worried about your immediate health and safety, don't stay. Like, for example, if you're smelling gas or anything like that, just better to pop out, maybe try to stay to friends for a little bit, or find somewhere to go for the day while it's being investigated. Always better safe than sorry. So, and make sure that you chat to your real estate so as soon as possible and you'll need to submit a maintenance request. But call them prior if you can, because they might have like an emergency process that they go through. Like you might need to talk to a specific person, particularly for like emergency after hours. Most real estate agents will have someone on call for emergency after hours issues. So make sure that you give them a call, and then put in any maintenance requests that you need to lodge, including photos and things like that. When this sort of stuff goes wrong, make sure that you do take photos if it's safe to do so, as this will help you if they are going to try to put it back on you in the future. And of course, making sure that whenever you move into a new place, you take lots of photos. Put all the relevant ones onto the condition report, but keep all of the other ones in an album somewhere. Make sure they're time stamped. Most JPEGs will keep an electronic time and location stamp on them so that you can find it later if you need to. So yeah, make sure that you have a lot of photos and that you do your condition report, because this will save you a lot of money potentially, and save your bond being taken if the real estate tries to pin an issue on you or on negligence or something like that. Number 3, so you have the right to keep a pet unless VCAT decides there's a substantial reason for you not to have one. An example of this is like if you had a venomous snake and you were keeping it outside, or if you have a farm dog in an apartment and no backyard and you've made no provision for exercise. If you have a bunny and you plan to let it roam around without a cage, bunnies will eat cables, chew and dig through carpet and walls without a pen. Those could definitely some reasons that you might have it like legitimately rejected. But most of the time, pets you do have the right to keep a pet. So you need to do what's called a pet application still. So there's a form that you can get online, email your real estate. They should send you the relevant form. Then you'll need to lodge that, including things like, what provisions you're going to make to actually make sure that the pet's going to be good for the property, that it's not going to damage the property, that sort of thing. That'll help your case. And if you pop that through, it'll take about 14 days, up to 14 days to be returned. Yeah. So even if you have a pre-existing pet when you move into a property, you still need to do this pet application process, and you'll probably need to disclose that you have a pet in the application process for the property as well. So make sure that you get that sorted. 4, you have the right to keep a pet that is a certified assistance pet or therapeutic support animal. They cannot discriminate based on this, and you don't need to do a pet application. So the only thing they may do is tell you if the property is in the wrong location for that animal, or if it's unsuitable for the animal, as obviously it might be dangerous for the pets. And if it's an assistance animal, it could be dangerous for you too. So so make sure that obviously and I'm sure that most people with assistance animals will be checking, and pets in general will be checking, that the property is suitable. But when you chat to the real estate, if they do disclose something that is going to be unsafe for the pet, like let's say that the back fence is full of holes or something like that, then you might need to talk to them about getting that fixed up as well. If you think you've been lied to about them saying that it's unsuitable, unsafe, whether it's for a pet or an assistance animal, make sure that you call Consumer Affairs, and you can actually lodge an appeal to VCAT, and they can then make that assessment. Because sometimes, it might happen that a real estate agent and or a landlord is being a bit dodgy, and they might just sort of not want an animal on the property. They might claim it's unsuitable and so on. So make sure you double check that. Number 5, you have the right to keep children under 16 and not be discriminated for this when you are renting. They can only really do this, again, similar to the pet thing, if the property is an unsuitable location or if it is unsuitable for children. Again, if you think you're being lied to about this, make sure that you contact Consumer Affairs Victoria, and you can lodge an appeal with VCAT, and then they can make that assessment for you. Number 6, so you have the right to make reasonable modifications to the property. This came into effect in July of 2020, which was a very exciting development. This includes things like hanging picture frames, putting in child safety locks and features, pet safety locks and features for a pet that you've actually done the application for and they know about, hanging curtain rods and hooks, installing new or additional locks. You'll need to let the real estate know and provide them with a copy of the key, but you have the right to change your locks or to add locks into the property, or other security features. Of course, you will still have to ensure that the property is back to the way that you found it prior, but a lot of real estate agents probably aren't going to complain if you're putting in things like additional safety features and those sorts of things. But definitely chat to your real estate before you do that final inspection when you leave the property, and they can basically tell you if there's anything that you need to put back. Like they might be like, the hooks have to come off or whatever. Chat to them prior to that way that you know that you're not going to have to go through all the hassle of having to pay out of your bond or anything like that in order to get those things sorted. So yeah. Number 7, so you have a right to reasonable privacy. Shouldn't have to say that, but you do. Your landlord or real estate can't come knocking unannounced. They also shouldn't be dropping by the property just to check on it without giving you substantial and written notice. So it has to be at least 24 hours written notice for things that are more of an emergency. For other things, then it needs to even be more than that potentially. Like, for example, inspections and stuff need to be 14 days, and there are other provisions that you can check out online. But yeah, so they can't just like drop by. The other thing that unfortunately happens a bit too much is landlords drop by to do the gardening or the mowing. They're not actually allowed to do that because it is intruding on your reasonable privacy, because that is a place where you live, and they have a substantial amount of control. You don't really want to have that privacy breached. So if your landlord is coming over to do the mowing or the gardening, and that makes you feel quite uncomfortable, even if it doesn't, and you're just like, nah, this isn't okay, contact your real estate and let them know, because yeah, that's something that they shouldn't be doing. Unless, of course, they have done that written notice for the express purpose of doing that thing. Number 8, you have the right to have property inspections done via photo reports or virtual reports if you're worried about your health and safety, particularly with COVID at the moment. So you can call your real estate and let them know as soon as you get notice of an inspection if this is a concern, or if you've been ill or self-isolating in the 14 days prior to the inspection. Make sure that you let them know this. If they don't offer you the, like if they say, oh, we'll reschedule, ask them about doing a photo inspection instead. It will take a lot of pressure off, and often they do want to keep their inspections on schedule. So chat to them about that as an option. Number 9, you have the right to 14 days written notice of an inspection and expectations to be clearly outlined prior to that inspection. So they can't just rock up and just be like, hey, we're doing an inspection today. They have to give you the 14 days notice, and they can't just rock up and be like, well, we expected this, this, and this, if they haven't actually given that to you in writing. That's why you'll often get that checklist of things that you need to prepare before your inspection. And number 10, so you have the right to written notice if your landlord wants to end the tenancy earlier than the lease actually says. So, and the appropriate amount of notice for the reason why. There are a bunch of different notice periods for different reasonings, but they all tend to fall in the 14 to 28 day category, some a little bit longer. Make sure that you go to consumervic.gov.au to find out more information about what the reasonable amount of notice is for each particular purpose. They have to give you that notice. And yeah, there might also be other things you can do to negotiate with the real estate, like going to a month-by-month contract. For example, if they're selling the property and they still haven't got a buyer and so on, for that purpose. So yeah, if you are interested in finding out about any of your other rights, which you have during renting, make sure that you head to Consumer Vic. They've got incredible guides, a lot of accessible information on there. And yeah, stay tuned, because next week I'm going to be talking about the other side of it, your obligations while renting, and the things that you need to make sure that you do and maintain while you're renting, in order to avoid all of those nasty surprises, like having your bond taken or ending up on a tenant database and all those sorts of things. Just little simple things that you can do. So yeah, and then in future weeks we'll be bringing you some handy hints, and we'll be talking about how to actually deal with moving day when you do move into your new rental property as well. All right, thank you so much, and I will chat to you next time. Bye.